Don't eat that food. I didn't plan to say it out loud. It just came out of me loud enough to slice through a room full of laughter, clinking glasses, and people who'd never once worried about being hungry. 1 second, everyone was smiling, nodding, pretending they were listening to the man on stage, and the next, every head turned toward the service entrance where I stood shaking barefoot, wishing my voice would disappear, and also knowing it absolutely couldn't. Funny how fear and certainty can exist in the same breath, you know what I mean. Let me rewind because none of that makes sense without the part nobody saw coming. 6 hours earlier, I woke up on a bus bench behind a closed diner on 9th Street, wrapped in a thrift store coat that smelled like someone else's life. My stomach hurt in that familiar way, not sharp, just empty, like it had given up arguing. I was 14 then, already old enough to know how invisible you can become when people decide you're a problem instead of a person. The only thing I owned that mattered was a beat-up notebook stuffed inside my jacket, held there like a secret. My mom's notebook. She used to say it wasn't a diary, it was a map, notes to herself about how the world actually works when you pay attention. She died 2 years earlier in what the city called an accident. Gas leak. Wrong place, wrong time. Case closed. Except it never felt closed to me. She worked as a private cook for wealthy families' events, charity galas, the kind of jobs where you're everywhere and nowhere at the same time. She taught me things most kids don't learn. How heat changes food. How smell tells the truth before taste does. How people lie with smiles, but ingredients never do. One note in that notebook was circled so many times the paper almost tore. If something smells like bitter almonds, walk away. That's poison. Don't debate it. She made me repeat it like multiplication tables. That night, I wasn't headed anywhere special. Hunger just pushes you forward. I passed the Calderon Ballroom without thinking, saw the lights, the valet line, the kind of night people dress up for so they can feel important. I told myself to keep walking. Instead, my feet slowed. Memory does that. My mom had worked there once years ago, back when things were still normal. I drifted closer, peered through a side window, and the smell hit me. Butter, onions, wine, cheese. The kind of smell that wraps around you and hurts because it reminds you of warmth. I almost turned away. Almost. Inside, the event was already rolling. The speaker on stage, Richard Vale, a local business legend with silver hair and a reputation for generosity, was being praised like a saint. I didn't know that yet. I just knew I needed something to eat, maybe something thrown out back. So I slipped around the building, found the service alley, did what I'd done 100 times before, waited for a door to open that wasn't meant for me. The kitchen was chaos in the way only expensive kitchens are. Orders flying, metal clanging, people moving like they'd rehearsed this their whole lives. I stayed near the wall, quiet and visible. Then a server passed me carrying a tray of soup, and my body reacted before my brain did. My chest tightened. My nose caught something wrong buried under everything right. Bitter almonds, faint but there, the exact smell my mom warned me about. I followed that tray like it was pulling me on a string. I didn't think about consequences or guards or how ridiculous I must have looked. I just knew that soup wasn't supposed to be there. The bowl with the thin gold ring around the rim. Small detail, but my mom always said details are where truth hides. That bowl was headed straight for the head table. When I ran into the ballroom and shouted, the sound echoed louder than I expected. People gasped. Security rushed me like I was on fire. Someone hissed, "Get her out of here." Someone else laughed. Actually laughed like I was part of the entertainment. Richard Vale froze with his spoon halfway to his mouth. A man next to him. Younger. Sharp suit. Sharp eyes went pale, so fast it was almost impressive. That was Owen Blake, Vale's right-hand man. The guy everyone said ran the numbers. "Sir, don't eat it," I said again, my voice cracking but my feet planted. "That soup is poisoned." The room buzzed with disbelief. Irritation, that special kind of anger people get when their perfect night is interrupted by someone they don't respect. Owen leaned toward Vale, his voice low but sharp. "This is nonsense. She's looking for attention. Have her removed." His eyes never left me. not angry. Calculating. Vale did something unexpected. He raised his hand. Wait. He looked at me, really looked like he was trying to see past the dirt and fear. Why do you think that? I can smell it, I said. Bitter almonds, my mom taught me. Someone scoffed. This is insane. Another voice louder. Call the police. Then the head chef pushed forward, white jacket hands shaking. Sir, he said, swallowing hard, her mother used to work here. She trained her daughter. I've seen it. The kid's nose is unusual. The room shifted. Not convinced, but curious. Vale nodded to security. Test it. They had a portable kit standard for high-profile events. A drop from the bowl, a reagent a pause that felt like an hour. The liquid turned blue. Positive. People screamed. Chairs scraped. Glass shattered. Owen stepped back too quickly, bumping into a server, his calm finally cracking. Security grabbed him before he could run. He shouted about setups, about conspiracies, about how none of this made sense. But it did. It made horrifying sense. When police searched him, they found a vial. Same smell, same poison. Turns out Vale had confronted him earlier that day about missing funds. Millions. Owen had decided it was easier to erase a problem than explain it. After the room emptied and the noise died down, Vale sat in front of me on the marble floor like the crowd didn't exist. He handed me a bottle of water, wrapped his jacket around my shoulders. You saved my life, he said quietly. What's your name? I told him, and then I showed him the notebook, my mom's handwriting. Dates, names, notes about things she'd overheard, money that didn't add up. She'd been scared before she died. I hadn't imagined it. Vale read in silence, his jaw tightening with every page. That night didn't end with applause or closure. It ended with police-light statements and 1,000 questions I was finally allowed to answer. Owen Blake was arrested. The investigation reopened my mom's case. Turns out, accidents can be manufactured if the right people look the other way. Weeks later, I sat in a courtroom wearing borrowed clothes, hands steady for the first time in years. I told the truth. All of it. The jury didn't need long. Guilty. On all counts. Watching someone who once looked untouchable get led away in cuffs didn't feel triumphant. It felt quiet, like a door finally closing. Here's the part people argue about. Vale didn't just walk away. He tracked me down after asked where I was staying. When I told him, he didn't flinch. He offered help. Not charity, not pity. A chance. School. Therapy. A kitchen internship when I was ready. I almost said no. Pride is loud when you've survived alone, but my mom used to say strength isn't refusing help, it's knowing when to take it. A year later, I stood in a kitchen again, this time wearing a clean coat with my name stitched on it. I still flinch at certain smells. I still wake up some nights thinking I'm back on that bench. But I'm here. Learning. Teaching. Making sure other kids like me don't get ignored just because they don't look like they belong. So here's my question for you. How many people do we walk past every day assuming they have nothing to offer? How many truths go unheard because they come from the wrong mouth, the wrong clothes, the wrong place? That night, a room full of powerful people missed something obvious, and a kid. Everyone wanted to silence, saw it clearly. Tell me what you think. Was it luck instinct training or something else entirely? Have you ever been dismissed when you knew you were right, or seen someone overlooked who shouldn't have been? Drop your thoughts in the comments, argue if you need to share your own story. Because if there's one thing I learned, it's this. Being underestimated doesn't make you wrong. Sometimes it makes you the only one paying attention.